Thank you for listening to Lone Star Community Radio. This program was broadcasted and recorded live from the LSCR studios in downtown Conroe, Texas. Lone Star Community Radio is supported by listeners like you. Donate and sponsor today. For more information on getting involved with Lone Star Community Radio, contact us at lscrstudios@gmail.com or visit us online at www.irlonestar.com.
Measuring the rate at which work gets done. It's the Audience of One show on Conroe's 106.1 and 104.5 FM, streaming on irlonestar.com and available wherever you tend to get your podcasts from. On today's show, we discuss being mistaken for homeless, when insects become junkies, and misadventures that lead to death. I am Andrew, maestro of the run sheet, next to the guy who never really went to happy hour. It's Dick, better in than out, Schisler. What's up, man?
Word up.
What's going on? Did you enjoy your birthday to the fullest last week, sir?
Oh, yeah.
Excellent.
Oh,
Did
yeah.
you happen to get any random texts from companies you may have visited recently, like the the erotic store, just wishing you a happy birthday, making sure that your last purchase was a good fit, everything, you're still enjoying everything?
Yeah, of course.
I think I talked about that before, where you'll get the random birthday text from Take 5 Oil. And you're never happy that they sent you a happy birthday. It's just a reminder they have all of your information. It's like, dude, I got my oil changed. We're not dating. What are you doing here? I don't care.
Well, I've gotten to the point where I get texts from all sorts of outside things I never felt like I signed up for, so I just ignore everything now. It's like anything's a possibility. So.
Your information is out there in so many places. You have no idea if you willingly put your name out there or if they somehow got it off the dark web.
Yeah.
What's the dark web? Dick, explain to me the dark web.
You don't know what the dark web is?
No, please explain it to me.
I mean, it's basically where things that are illegal happen.
How do I get to it? Is there a website I can go to get to the dark web?
That's what I consider the dark web.
.darkweb.com?
Well, the unfortunate thing with the dark web is everyone has their own opinions what shouldn't be illegal and what should be illegal, and I'm using a wide spectrum with that.
Uh-huh.
And so if you go to say oh, hey, they don't make this movie anymore, I'm going to try to find an old version of it, legally download it, right?
Sure.
Well, you visit that website, and there's probably thousands and thousands of other things on that website that you probably don't want to be associated with.
Mm-hmm.
So the dark web can be a lot of things, like illegal streaming.
Sounds like a fun place, though, if done correctly.
Yeah. I mean, that's one thing that always amazed me is I meet people who order drugs on the internet.
That seems dumb.
And it seems really stupid, right?
Yeah, it
but
does.
They're like, well, this was back in the 90s, and no one really knew anything. And I'm like, no, I believe that. Because no one really knew anything.
Yeah, it was very much a wild, wild west before the WWW came into play,
Yeah.
I think, right? Yeah.
that's how I used to get my games when I was 16.
Right.
Peer-to-peer sharing and just illegally get these games that, I was 16 years old. I didn't have any money, so I was like, yeah.
Movies where you could see the person in front of you's head, moving around. Because it was always
those are the best.
Right, recorded from someone's lap. Speaking of that and social media and the internet and how it's kind of changed, I'm always amazed at when I see advertisements fed to me in my social media page. It will say at the top, if someone in your friends group is following that company, and it'll say something it'll be an ad for Cheerios, and I'm like, Dave likes Cheerios. And I'm always wondered, why are you following these companies? Why are my friends liking and following Take 5 or Cheerios or something like that?
That's whatever.
I mean, we struggle to get anybody to follow our page. Why the hell would you be following, Cheetos or something?
But it
makes
could
no
be,
sense to me.
But it also could be the other side of it, where you get a funny meme and you see the friends who liked it. You're like, all right,
I get
we got
that.
the same humor.
No, I understand if it's a funny meme, but just why blatantly just follow, I don't know, Taco Bell? Unless they're giving out coupons or something. Maybe I could see that, but
people do that all the time.
I don't get it. I just don't get it. Dick, we did a lot of IT work before the show, trying to get rid of this little hum in the background. Some of our onesies have noticed there's a hum sometimes in our audio. Is everything up and running over there? I see a weird Audience of One thing on that screen. We're
just going for it.
I just have a weird feeling that something is going to go awry in this episode with all the amount of.
It was one of those quick fixes that, hey, this can make it 10
fly.
times worse, or this could fix it.
It's
So
weird
we'll
because,
see.
yeah, I know onesies, there's sometimes a ringing during these recordings, and sometimes it's worse than others. I don't know what it is.
I don't know either.
We've narrowed it down to one channel, but we can't quite seem to get rid of it completely.
Yeah.
I'm calling this show today, Dick, my low prep episode. We're recording really, really early because I'm going to be out of town later this week, and
Yeah.
didn't have a lot of time to prep for this show, so this is called Andrew's low prep episode.
Well, that's what when you texted me saying like, "Oh, we're gonna record," I'm like, "Yeah, you told me like a week and a half
I
ago."
said a lot of
we were-
stuff a
we
week
were
and a
gonna
half
do
ago,
this.
man, and then I went, wait a minute, that's tomorrow. Oh, great.
And then we had golf on Friday.
Yeah, we did. We crushed it, by the way.
Yeah, I loved it.
You and I teamed up and did a scramble against two other individuals. I would say of probably similar caliber golf, but we done kicked that butt, didn't we?
Yeah, it was fun.
It was
I had a
fun.
great time.
Yeah, you started playing really well that second half.
That's usually what happens
When the hallucinogens were wearing off and the alcohol was kicking
you
in.
mean kicking in? Everything was kicking in. And I
Yeah,
think
nicely lubed.
I even told you that. Like after like the third hole, I was like, "Hey, just by the way, just like my bowling game, it's gonna take me like
Got to get the swing grease.
I gotta because I
loaded
never
right,
practice.
Calibrated correctly.
I never practice, so it's like I didn't do any stretches. I was like, I'm just going for it. And then, of course, my favorite moment was right when we get there. I'm like, give me a beer, and I don't know how early it was. And then like Kurt was like, you sure you want to have a beer? I'm like, well, yeah, it was my birthday. Like, what else?
I mean, it's 9:30 a.m.
Yeah.
That was impressive, I have to admit.
It was very nice. It was already hot. It was perfect. And then, yeah, everything. Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And then we went to that top 50 Texas monthly barbecue joint recently.
Bar ABQ. Yes, it was very good, man. I enjoyed it.
They were out of everything. Too.
Yeah, I think we went at a non-optimal time later in the afternoon, and they're one of those places that, and this is how you know that it's a really good barbecue joint, is they just close when they run out of food.
Yeah.
You know, they're not going to fire up the grill to make something special for you. You got to get there at peak time. Well, we were out on the golf course, so by the time we got there, a lot of the good stuff was already gone. We got all the scraps left over.
That's still good.
But it was still good. It was still very good.
But yeah.
So
And,
there were a few things from last week's show that I want to revisit.
Okay.
And this is the one story that we talked about, the woman that unfortunately acquired an E. coli bacteria in her
Getting
nose
farted on, yeah.
when her boyfriend farted on her in very close proximity. And you said at the time that that could be an incident that really separates a couple or really can bond them. And I don't think I really thought about it at the moment, Dick, but I can't imagine an incident like that bonding a couple. I think we need to revisit this for just one moment, how
Again,
a fart on the face resulting in medical injuries could be a bonding moment for a couple.
The way you got to look at
Explain yourself.
this story is it wasn't like the incident happened and then immediately after they had to go to the hospital.
No, it was a slow burn, so to speak.
So what occurred was over the years, they couldn't figure out what was going on with her. And then when they finally found out it was E. coli in her sinus system.
And related it back.
And they're like, hey, this is going to sound odd, but has anyone like farted in your face? And she's like, well, my boyfriend farts a lot. And I guess you remember that particular moment when he needed to be cared for and he couldn't move.
No, it was her. She had just had surgery. She was in an area that couldn't, she was feeling vulnerable. She had had ankle surgery.
Yeah.
And he came over to her while she was in the
Oh,
bed.
I misunderstood that one.
Yes.
But
Kind
again,
of changes everything.
but
And she
again,
was not mobile.
That kind of stuff, you know, and I'm not saying specifically farting on somebody, but it's like you if you're with somebody long enough, there's going to be inadvertent stuff that
This was very verdant.
causes you problems. Like you don't really think of, oh, he's just farting into my face. I'm going to have this undiagnosable disease for 2 or 3 years.
No, but I think once she determined what it was from, I don't think she immediately looked longingly into his eyes and said, let's renew our vows. Okay? I can't imagine this being a bonding.
I think it's pretty freaking fun.
It's a hilarious
And
story.
if it happened to me, like if I was the one going to the hospital,
God, I love you so much right now, baby.
I'd look at her and be like, I'm going to hold this against you for the rest of our lives.
So to speak. Mhm.
And apparently it doesn't work because that didn't work in my relationship. I'm just kidding. I got a story off the air I'll tell you about that. Not this dire, but there was an ongoing thing.
We'll cover it. I don't know. I heard that when I listened to our show, went back and listened to parts of it, and I thought, wait a minute, I missed it at the time, but this could potentially be a bonding moment. I'm going to give you a moment to clarify here.
Well, no, it definitely, even if it's a bonding moment, it doesn't mean it has to turn out good.
That's generally what bonding means, though. Together.
Yeah.
Together.
So, like,
they're no longer together.
10 years from then,
unbonding.
she could be like, hey, you want to hear a crazy story? I had this ex-boyfriend farted in my face. And
Yeah, I will say it makes for a great
that's
story.
A bonding, like, you
But
always,
bonding,
when
no.
you look at that guy, she's going to be like, you're the guy that farted in my face.
Yeah, they will always have that. That's true. But
Yeah,
I don't
and
believe
that's a bonding moment. Doesn't mean that it's going to be a good bonding moment.
I suppose you're right. I don't know, man.
Well, I mean, it's kind of, I mean, I don't really know any other circumstances that aren't extreme, like if you're in the war together, because those are bonding moments, and those guys, that's a terrible situation to be in, but it's still bonding.
Are you comparing?
But I don't know. I'm saying that's extreme.
She did say this was biological warfare.
Yeah,
she said not
it.
biological
Yeah.
warfare.
But yeah, that's my defense of it. I mean, I think it's those are the fun moments in life that you're always like, I can't believe this happened. I can't believe this is the conclusion of it.
And our insurance doesn't cover it.
And it's just like, yeah, that happened.
I feel so close to you right now.
You never had that ever happen in your life where like a loved one just inadvertently did something that caused you a lot of problems?
I mean, I'm sure. I have kids, so there's a good chance of it, yeah.
Yeah. And they don't mean to do it. There's not like they're intent.
No, they're just kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not even a kid's thing, but like the guy was just farting. Like who thinks of, oh, is this how you get?
Well, it was a little bit much again.
But then again, she could be misremembering it because she was very specific in the article about the day, time, and the smell. And I'm like, who remembers that? Like, yeah, who remembers that?
The birds were chirping outside.
Yeah, that's a wild.
I think she remembers it because of her incident, her ankle surgery. That's why.
Yeah.
Anyway, so one other item I wanted to talk about from last week, we talked about open caskets. And I said I wasn't a fan of open caskets, and you were like, whatever, bro, I want to jump in there with them, give them high fives, something along those lines.
No, I said what you do is you position the arm
up so you can
give him a high five.
When you go, yeah, like maybe almost like the Chinese cat for good luck, you know?
That's what I was trying to say. Well, I mean, you're already in a terrible scenario. You're at a funeral of a loved one.
So is the open casket so that you can identify that it's the correct body in there?
No, honestly, from what I understand, so you could say goodbye to somebody.
Yeah, but if it's closed, I suppose it could be anybody in there. And you're just trusting that she's got her wig on and somebody didn't steal it. It's the right person.
My grandfather was cremated. So it's like, it's just an urn.
Yeah, could be anybody in there.
So I don't really know like what to tell you there, bud, but
slightly different because it is just ashes. You're just hoping it's the right one. But when there's a body in there, I guess you do kind of have to quick peek. Just real quick, make sure everything's in order. All right, wig's on, clothed, got it.
Well, what about the terrible ones that like you don't even have a body and they have a casket still? You ever been to one of those?
It's just empty?
Yeah.
What are they putting there?
I think it's just a symbolic thing.
The Boston Dynamics robot dog,
well, like
or what?
They burned up, so they're not going to have a. It might be in there. It might.
Wait. Burned up like you?
Like they died.
They cremated, or there was an incident.
Yeah, they died, and they
like an E. coli up the nose incident. And,
yeah.
Okay.
And there's some folks have them when they're not, like they say they're missing.
So I think the casket is more just symbolic at that point. Is what you're saying?
Yeah, it's just I don't know why you're so obsessed with.
Well, you know what's funny is I would say maybe half the funerals I've been to could have been that way, and I'd have no idea because they were closed. My point exactly. You have no idea what's in there. Yeah. I'm changing my mind. Open caskets. Gotta have them.
Even if they're.
Gotta have them.
Don't have a face.
I'm not going to sit here and weep and cry over someone if it's the wrong dude. What if it's some guy I don't even like? You got to know it's the right guy.
Why would you even go to the funeral?
Because you're going there assuming it's for a loved one, but in there it's not.
Yeah, I'm not. I've only been to a handful of funerals, man. Like, how often do you go to funerals?
I do all the time.
Really?
No, I don't care for funerals, man. I'm yeah, shocker, right? I'm just not a big fan of them. Yeah. Anyways.
Well, I mean, yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, well, pretty much. All right.
I
think that ends the chit-chat session of the show, and I believe it's time we kick off this show. And just for you, Dick, because I know your favorite stories
are
aviation stories.
Oh, I love them.
We're going to come out super hot this episode, and I got you an airplane story, buddy. A British Airways flight attendant was reportedly found naked, staging a one-man disco in business class restroom on a flight from San Francisco to London last week. Yeah, buddy. According to a report in a UK publication, The Sun, the incident occurred when the flight attendant, yes, the flight attendant, a 41-year-old man, was supposed to be serving the in-flight meal. But while serving the meal, the flight attendant's colleagues searched the aircraft. The flight crew's boss was reportedly stunned to find the missing flight attendant completely naked and jiggling up and down in a business class restroom.
Well, I wonder how he found him. Are you not knocked?
And why mealtime? I don't know.
Well, when you get the urge to dance.
Naked. I love this. A one-man disco. And I love this quote, jiggling up and down. What do you think they were referring to?
I don't know.
I'm not sure. I will say it's the first story we've had in a while that involves nudity and aviation that was not of the female persuasion. Seems like they've...
it's about 50-50.
They've had a run here lately.
It's been about 50-50.
Okay. I think there was the one running through a Dallas airport,
I think
female.
it's kind of strange, though. Why would he open the bathroom door?
I think they were looking for him, couldn't find him.
And then you don't knock?
You do an accounting, of all the seats. Everyone's there, so...
Hey, he's probably in the restroom.
And I bet they have a key. They can always open that thing up during emergencies, and there he is, just...
Yeah, but
out of his mind, naked.
Well, yeah, I need more from this story.
Well, I'm assuming the guy had had some kind of mental breakdown, or
you think so?
Or his golf game was just rounding into form.
Yeah.
If you catch my drift,
yeah,
stuff was kicking in. The flight attendant, according to The Sun, was given a pair of pajamas reserved for the first-class passengers and bundled into a seat in the first-class cabin, where he was restrained for the rest of the flight. So,
he clearly
if there
had
was
something going on.
not an open seat, that means you're a first-class passenger that had to give up your seat for naked jiggling man. I'm hoping I get a voucher.
They probably didn't announce it.
Yeah, it's probably not good for business.
Yeah,
huh?
so
if you look outside your right side of the airplane, you'll notice the Grand Canyon. We'll be flying over the Grand Canyon for the next 30 minutes, and if you don't look in front of you, you won't see the jiggling British Airways flight attendant. Please continue to look out to the right.
Yeah, but he wasn't in front of anybody. I bet he's going to come back and say, like, hey, you should have left me in the restroom.
Yeah, I was in the restroom.
Yeah.
You do have a point there.
That's what I'm saying. Like, this story...
Now, granted, he could probably get in trouble because maybe he wasn't on break. Technically, you're not supposed to go on break for that long. They were serving the meal after all.
What's strange to me is they had pajamas. Like, did they have...
Well, I think they have pajamas for people in first class.
No, I'm saying they didn't have his clothes.
Yeah, where are his clothes? I think it's because you could just quickly wrap them up, maybe.
So he was definitely having a physical problem.
Or his clothes were soiled.
Yeah, maybe. I'm telling you, there's more to the story.
There is a lot more to this story, but I think it's pretty interesting.
Yeah. But see, to me, if I was a guy on the airplane, I probably would never notice that this was happening. I'd just be in my own little world.
Well, it says, according to this, the flight crew members were very angry because they had to work the entire flight without breaks due to this flight attendant being incapacitated from drugs. So they are saying that this is a drug-fueled, one-man jiggling disco over the Great Airways to London.
What is that, like 14 hours?
Maybe he was having a silent disco, and in his head, it was fantastic.
Yeah.
It called him to remove the clothes. Aren't you the one that told me about the silent discos?
Yeah, but you have to have a headset for that.
Well, maybe. Are you still technically naked if you have a headset on? I'm going to say yes. Ears don't constitute being clothed, in my opinion.
Well, I mean, I think when people say naked, that means your privates are showing.
Uh-huh.
So, like, as a guy...
And now Dick's definition of naked.
Yeah. Like, if you just had a shirt on and no bottoms, I think that would be considered naked, right?
Uh-huh. Yeah. Well, it depends on the... Well, we've talked about this before, yeah.
For a guy.
Yeah, for a guy, most definitely.
I think she'd still be naked.
Yeah, the bottom flash from a female, it's just not something you see very often.
No.
I say we bring it back. Ladies, bring back the bottom flash.
I don't want any of that in part of my life.
Okay, never mind. Scratch that. Edit that last part out.
Yeah, I don't want that.
We'll take another story that I think is going to fall really close to home. A Huntington Beach father who was walking with his baby said he was stunned after a neighbor had mistaken him for a homeless man and called the police. Now, I often joke that I think you have a bit of a homeless look to you, but it's fresh homeless. Again, homeless for just a few weeks. Well, this guy, Chapman Hamburg, 32, a young father of 4, and an artist who manages his own studio in the city, was mistaken as homeless as he was walking in the morning with his newborn daughter, as he usually does, in a baby sling when police officers suddenly pulled up and approached him. Apparently, they had received a call, like I said, from a neighbor saying, there's a homeless guy out there. We may need to go check him out. He may have abducted a child. Now, there is some videos and pictures. I want you to show the onesies of this guy, and I want you, Dick, to give your honest opinion here. Do you think if you were to see him, you would immediately think he's homeless?
I mean, he's definitely dressed up in that picture for the interview. Let's see. He posted
the actual incident.
But I'm trying to see how I can get it.
So for those of you just listening and not watching, he looks very bohemian. He's got his hair long, blonde, flowing locks. Quite a not a bad looking man. I'm just going to say
I would say yes.
With a man, but you say yes, he does look homeless?
A little bit.
I think he does give off a slight homeless vibe. He looks a little bit like Thor from Ragnarok, just like it without all the muscles.
You mean when he was fat?
Right. When he was out of shape. No, he does have a little bit of that. What's the actor's name?
No, I know you're
the
right.
Australian guy.
No,
He does kind of give off that vibe.
But what's funny about this is the neighbor called, and how does he not know who his neighbor is?
Well, it may have just been somebody in the area. You know, I don't know all of my neighbors. Right.
Yeah. All right. I like it.
But he said he tells police he's surprised the neighbors haven't already seen him because he walks around this neighborhood several times a day. So, Dick, I really think, again, I do a lot of these stories as a lesson for you. As someone who self-proclaims to walk alone and eat in the park by yourself with a bit of a homeless look yourself, be careful. Someone might mistake you as homeless and call the police.
Oh, yeah. The looks I get are like, you don't belong here. Those are the looks I get. And I'm like, probably, but...
I think this is funny. He did say to the police officers with a laugh, well, I am a little disheveled. I hadn't gotten ready for the day yet. I had my hair up in a messy bedhead. My pants were a bit saggy, and there was a hole in my slipper. Now, come on. Who doesn't have a hole in their slipper? I imagine
no, he
you're
really
the type
did.
guy.
No, if you look at the video, he really did look like a homeless person.
All right, I will say this.
Because he really did have a hole in his slipper.
If you got a hole in your slipper, you are giving off
and everything
a bit
he's
of
wearing it doesn't look like they're his.
Yeah, nothing's quite fitting. Yeah.
And so it's just kind of like, hey guy. But then again, it's all about behavior, right? So if you were just seeing a dude walk down the street like that, I'd be like, oh, he looks normal. But if he's, yelling at the baby or, yelling at people or just kind of like acting all schizo.
Yeah, exactly. No one, it didn't appear as though he was acting erratic in the video other than just walking out with a hole in his slipper.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't see that very often.
Yeah.
All right, well, staying on this theme of kind of boho and bohemian, Dick, are you familiar with what conductive grounding shoes are?
Yeah, that's what they, what do you call them? Linemen and stuff wear.
Are you sure? I don't know if we're talking about the same thing. Conductive grounding shoes help you reconnect by using the Earth's energy.
Oh,
These shoes are designed to let the Earth's electrons flow into your body, which can help you stay healthy and feel calm.
Jesus.
Maybe that's what this guy was doing. He had a toe hanging out the bottom or out the back of his or front. I suppose you don't have a toe in the back. He had a toe hanging out the front of his slipper so he could reconnect with the Earth's electromagnetic field or whatever the hell I just said.
I almost guarantee you this guy felt really bad afterwards.
The police officer?
No, the guy.
Oh, he said he was extremely embarrassed.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
that is a moment where you look at yourself in the mirror and say, it's time. It's time to just clean up just a little bit.
Yeah, I get that all the time.
Maybe rotate that toothbrush one extra time.
Every 4 months that happens to me.
Yeah, that once a year haircut you get.
Yeah, they're like, hey, maybe you should be thinking about that. I'm like, nah.
Well, I have heard the fact that you're supposed to at least once a day, Dick, walk around outside without shoes on to help with your chakra.
No, you gotta get these shoes.
Yeah, or if you don't have that ability to do that, I guess you can buy these grounding shoes.
Would you consider this similar to like that golf thing where they wear like magnetic bracelets or whatever?
I've seen those like copper bracelets and things like that around. I've heard some people feel that those are helpful. I don't know.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like I would put that in that camp.
Well, we're from the Earth, and the Earth is designed to help us, and vice versa. So I'm all for getting a pair of these. But I wanted to tell you a few of the benefits from wearing grounding shoes. Less swelling. By regularly connecting with the Earth, you might notice less swelling. Well, sometimes we need a little help with swelling. But in this case, this is the bad kind of swelling, which is often linked to various long-term health issues. Another benefit, better sleep. The Earth's energy can help set your body's sleep-wake cycle, leading to improved sleep and less stress. Wearing these shoes can help calm your nervous system, reducing stress and helping you feel more
I can't believe these are real.
I know, man. And the picture, I don't know if you want to show the onesies, they do just look like regular work boots. I mean, the pictures they're showing, I mean, they don't look special. You don't have a toe hanging out like our buddy in the park over there. I guess it's just the materials on the sole. They don't have rubber in them in the same way, because rubber obviously is going to block all electromagnetic fields.
I found you.
So I guess there's just no...
They look normal shoes.
Yeah, they just look like normal shoes. Check that the soles have something like carbon or stainless steel threads that help with this connection to the earth. It's not only about the health aspect, but also about the shoes working. And I guess you can tell that they're working because you're not swelling.
Yeah, these look like the bottoms look a little off.
Yeah, I think they kind of have to be, right? Did you ever see those shoes that were really popular, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago, mostly for runners, where it looked like toes? It looked like you were wearing a sock, essentially, and you could see individually each toe, but you had like a rubber bottom on them. It was really weird. I think they were supposed to be for runners, so you could have like proper, more natural form.
Here, I got you one.
I don't know.
Here.
What are you showing, a picture of the shoe?
These are supposed to be earth running shoes.
Earth running shoes. Yeah, bro. I can hold my baby out in the park while I have my
They
earth
have this
running
metal
shoes.
thing. I think that's...
Yeah, it's supposed to just something that conducts electricity, because our bodies do so. And if we're putting a piece of material such as rubber on the bottom,
How much are these
we're
shoes?
not able to absorb all the benefits of said electricity.
Man, if you wore these, I would love it.
Yeah. I'm going to come in here one day just feeling so stress-free and restful and so swelling-free. Bro.
I would love it.
I'm absorbing the earth. Speaking of the earth, in a world's first, scientists at the University of Utah have engineered fruit flies susceptible to cocaine addiction. That's right. She don't lie. Cocaine. But as strange as it sounds, there are potentially life-saving reasons for genetically altering the insects to crave the drug. In a surprising fact, humans have a lot in common with fruit flies. In fact, we share around 70 to 75% of the same genes responsible for various diseases, as well as many of the same vital organs. Now, this is pretty cool. However, I'm not sure I'd like to encounter a fly on cocaine. Can you imagine? That sucker's zooming around. They're already bouncing around everywhere. How could you tell, by the way, besides that, if a fly is on cocaine? I mean, I guess he's rubbing his gums and talking a lot. I don't know. I'd hate to encounter one of these, man. But this is nuts. What else do you think, Dick, we could possibly get flies addicted to?
I don't...
Coke's an interesting one.
What's the point of this?
Researchers have relied on the insects for genetic studies for years, especially for investigating the biological roots of certain addictions like cocaine abuse. So basically, they're studying these fruit flies and how their brain reacts once they're all hopped up on cocaine, so that we can potentially study the effects on human beings and perhaps have less folks that are addicted to the cocaine.
Well, my favorite thing from this article is the senior author. Flies don't like cocaine one bit. So let's give it to them.
Yes, it is interesting because of the fact that you just read there that the flies don't like the cocaine.
Yeah.
It's difficult to administer.
Yeah.
Here, fly, fly, fly,
Yeah,
fly, fly,
that's
fly, fly.
interesting.
Come here. So I don't know how they're... I mean, I guess you got to flavor it.
Well, that's what they were saying. They're lacing water, sugar water. And then they were talking about what they were trying to do is get them addicted and then figuring out methods of getting them off of it.
Sounds
But
terrible.
they said the hardest part was them getting them addicted to it because they would always choose the non-laced one.
Right. And you're
'Cause they're
thinking,
probably-
sign me up. I will always choose the laced one.
No, I don't know what I choose. That's kind of weird.
Just depends on how thirsty I am. All right, last story before the break. An almost 200-year-old condom has just gone on display at the exhibition at the Rijksmuseum in Amsterdam.
Wow.
Dick, they were using
That's
condoms
amazing.
200 years ago. Can't believe it. It is thought to be made of a sheep's appendix. I'm not sure what that means, and features an explicit print representing a nun and 3 clergymen. Yeah, I'm not so sure that you can show the picture here, because if you can see it, it does appear as though they might be about to perform a weird act on this poor unsuspecting woman. But it's drawn on the actual condom itself, and in this picture, it looks massive. It looks like it's like 3 feet long, but I'm guessing that's just the angle. It's always about the angle.
Well, no, it's all about the detail of the art. Because this is very detailed.
Very detailed, right. And I'm thinking no one was actually using this, I don't think, right? I mean, this looks like something you put over your arm.
I don't know, man.
The rare artifact dates back to 1830 and was purchased by the museum at auction last year. The condom is part of an exhibition on 19th century prostitution and sexuality. Prints, drawings, and photographs
That's a hell of a first date.
also form part of the display. Yeah. You want to go to the museum tonight, baby?
Baby.
I hear they're got a nice display for you.
That's funny.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't imagine those being very effective or very comfortable.
Yeah.
And if you're going to go through the process of putting that much time into drawing on it, you don't want to use it. It's going to be like that one condom you got in 5th grade you hold on to all the way through junior high, all the way through high school, just in case, man.
That's
just
funny.
in case. All right, it's a pretty good time to take a break. When we come back, we are going to discuss Death by Misadventure. Right here on the Audience of One Show, guys. Stick around.
Car enthusiasts of Conroe, FM 104.5 and 106.1 Lone Star Community Radio invites you to shift into gear every Monday from 1 to 2 with Cruising Car Club Talk with Robert and Randy for news on all things automotive in the greater Houston-Conroe area. Can't make a live show? We've got you covered. You can find all of our uncut content, including full episodes on Spotify, iTunes, Play Store, YouTube, Facebook, and irlonestar.com. Again, that's Mondays 1 to 2, Cruising Car Club Talk with Robert and Randy. See you there.
All right, we're back with Audience of One here on Lone Star Community Radio every Friday at 10 a.m. Always feel free to send us some funny articles at audienceoneshow@gmail.com, or you can donate and sponsor the show at irlonestar.com/a. And we're back.
This show is going to air on Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
Dun, dun, dun.
You
You know where Friday the 13th came from? It is considered an unlucky day in Western superstition. It occurs when the 13th day of the month. Well, yeah. It's so stupid. It occurs when the 13th day of the month in the Gregorian calendar falls on a Friday. I don't think I needed to read that. Which happens at least once every year, but can occur up to 3 times a year. Common years that begin in Thursday have 3 Friday the 13th, one in February, March, and November. Such as the case was 2009, 2015, and next year, 2026. Leap years that begin on Sunday, such as 2012 and 2040, also have 3 Friday the 13th in January, April, and July.
Another
And we are
useless
all
information.
dumber for having heard that.
Yeah.
But did you know it's on the 13th day on a Friday?
Cool.
Yeah, useless information. Speaking of useless information, Dick, is there ever a time when you put your clothes into the dryer that you don't want them to get dry? Isn't that sort of the entire point of using a dryer? You're looking at me like you're fading
I just
hard.
left my stuff in the dryer, so now I'm
Oh,
like,
you're having that thought, oh no, is the iron still on?
I was like, oh great.
Well, but did you leave them in the wash or the dryer? Because the wash is
Dryer.
okay. I mean, the dryer's okay.
Yeah.
The wash, though, did you hit start at least? I've done that before where you go to take your clothes out of the dryer and they're still wet. You're like, oh man, I never hit start. Well, I noticed something. The reason I'm even bringing this up is I noticed something on my dryer the other day that had a setting called less dry, more dry, and very dry.
Yeah.
I thought, wait a minute. What scenario would I want? You know what? I don't really want my clothes very dry here. Let me just dry them a little bit. Is that a thing? I can't think of a scenario. Now, I can understand not wanting high heat on delicate materials, but less dry.
I don't really know how
man.
it works. There's probably some reason for it, and
There's got to be. Do you follow the washing instructions on your clothes?
no, not at all.
How did I know that was coming? You don't separate by colors and tumble low heat separately? No, everything goes all into one, huh? You are going to get picked up for being homeless one of these days. Just don't carry a small child with you.
Well, I mean, there's certain elements to it where it's like if they're dress shirts, I do those individually, dress shirts. But like if it's jeans and t-shirts and towels
Are
and
dress
underwear,
shirts considered permapress? I have that setting on there too. I'm like, I don't even know what that means. Permapress. I'm going to try just to see what it does.
well, you know what was funny is talk about the washing machine and dishwasher and all those kind of things. There's actually like a science behind a lot of the instructions they give you, but no one pays attention to. Like even the microwave.
Someone's job to write all that stuff.
Well, it's like even the microwave. Like if you fully understood how microwaves work and how the power button works and all that kind of stuff, like it'd probably change your life. Because
Okay.
well, no, I'm saying like when you're cooking food, like you don't always want to do it on power 10.
No, yeah, you can change the power.
But no one never does. They're like,
Oh, I do. Yeah, for sure. Especially if you're heating meat, because it'll cook something really quickly.
yeah.
Like I may have had some leftover brisket before I came over here. Guess what I did? Half power. Because I didn't want to cook the meat. I just wanted to warm up. So no, maybe I'm the rarity. I use that
Well,
power
that's
setting
the thing.
all the
Same
time.
thing with the dryer. I bet there's some things in there where like I gotta actually read and understand.
You know what? I want this shirt to come out damp. I suppose there could be a reason for it. I don't know.
Well, it might be a thing where you're supposed to hang dry it,
Well, then you wouldn't be putting it in the dryer at all.
but maybe that's like it just cuts it in half and doesn't damage the clothes. I don't know. I'm not
Yeah,
gonna try
man.
to defend the.
Yeah, I don't work for Samsung.
I don't really care.
I don't know. I just thought it was very strange. I just couldn't think of a reason. Maybe you're right. Maybe you have something that you just want
Well, see,
less
I
dry
remember,
than when it comes out, or
see,
less
I remember
wet.
I had this argument with my mom back in the day because she was very adamant about what settings to put, especially if she bought me like a polo or something like that.
Maybe I
She's
need
like,
to ask her.
She's like, "Hey, you're supposed to hang dry these. Like this will ruin them." And I'm
Mhm.
like, "Mom, I
Mhm.
still have polos from when I was 15."
Yeah, I've never followed the washing instructions.
But
Meanwhile, these things are 30 years old. Right?
yeah, on top of that, it's like if I wanted a new one, I just get a new one. Like that's the beauty of the world. So it's like, oh, sorry, I didn't follow the right instructions, and then the shirt lost 1 year of its life.
Well,
out of
I have
30.
I have ruined a nice sweater before by not following the instructions. So maybe I'm a little traumatized. The collar came out looking like a piece of bacon after one dryer setting. It says it was cashmere and you're not supposed to dry it at all. Whoops.
Yeah, anything nice, I just take it to the dry cleaning.
Oh, I ain't
Especially
I ain't got that
cashmere.
kind of cash.
You're not supposed to put cashmere in the wash at all.
There, see, there you go. That was my one mistake.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't know that it was cashmere, but it was some sort of high-end, nice sweater. R.I.P. sweater.
Another useless information on Audience of One.
That's right. That's the type of stuff you'll get here every week, Fridays at 10 a.m. Dick, have you ever, switching subjects
See, that's why
abruptly?
that's why I want to move into an old folks home. Because they'll do laundry service for you.
That's the reason why. I thought you were going to say for the chicks.
No, there's a couple because we've interviewed a bunch of out here. There's a lot of senior centers, and when they tell me the full package, I'm like, why aren't people doing this for like? They said it was like $2,400 a month. I'm like, people are paying that rent in like downtown Houston, easy.
Until we get robots to take
And
care
then
of
it's
us.
like, and that's the full thing. You get all the meals. You get all. I mean, like
That robot's not going to care if you ask for your 5th sponge bath of the day.
Yeah.
It's not going to
Like,
care.
I
Yes,
would-
sir.
I
I will
never
give you
understood
another
that.
sponge bath, you dirty old man.
And I remember one guy asked directly, I was like, if I paid that, would you let me live there?
I think it's at least, 55 seems awfully young, so it's got to be at least 65 and over.
Yeah, but they do your laundry. They'll deliver food to your
But what if you're
your
just,
house.
what if
or
you've
your
just taken
bungalow.
such terrible care of yourself that even though you're 39 years old, you're metabolically like 85. Can you get into one of those things? This is a good question, Dick.
No, he said there would probably be something to work out.
Yeah, I got a deal for you.
Well, that's the most expensive package or whatever.
I
So-
love the fact that you've inquired about this.
Well, think about it. Like someone's doing your laundry every day.
Uh-huh.
You have housekeeping.
Sounds like your current living situation. Continue.
Every day. No, I'm taking care of everything, and it's like, how much money does that cost for you to do? Like on the end of the month, like would you pay an extra $400 to take care of all that all week, every day? I'd be like,
I mean, I think so. 400 is probably a decent amount.
Because in my mind, I thought he was going to say like $8,000.
Wait a minute. Does that include meals too, though?
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah.
400 is a steal. Now you probably have to pay for the food, like the actual
I think it was,
food, but the prep.
If I remember,
yeah.
it was like $2,500 to $3,000 a month, depending on like what assistant care you needed.
And you need a lot of care.
And I don't want to talk to anybody. I just want everything at the door. And I'm like, just let's leave it at the door.
Video games. Just make sure the Wi-Fi. Just make sure you give me the Wi-Fi password, and we're good to go.
Yeah.
Just slide in the dish under the door
Yeah.
like a prisoner.
I'm good with it.
He's growling. Thanks. Leave me alone. Come back when it's bath time.
Now I'm playing backgammon with my buddies.
Dominoes.
I'm playing all sorts of. I'm telling you, it'd be fun.
All right. That was a great aside. Dick, have you ever headbutted anyone?
On accident, probably.
No, I mean, I'm talking like on purpose. Someone's in your face, man.
No.
They're talking to you, and you just go, bam!
Well, I'm not really known to get into altercations with people.
Yes, you are a gentle soul with toes hanging out of your shoe to get one with the earth.
Yeah.
I've never headbutted anyone either, and I can't imagine it going well. You always see it in the movies. Some guy whack hits it, and the other guy just falls, and he's like completely unscathed.
Getting headbutt hurts, man. I got headbutted this weekend from a child, and that hurt. I was like,
Yes,
ow.
as a parent raising children, you do get smacked in the face and headbutted, and it hurts, exactly. But I'm saying apparently there's a way you can effectively use this motion, this movement to really do some damage to your opponent. To me, it just seems like there's a fine line there where things can go wrong. I'll have to talk to my sensei, see what he says about it.
Yeah. Where does this come from? Where did you headbutt somebody?
These are just my random thoughts. If for those onesies that don't know, we have a section on our run sheet that's called Andrew's Rants and Observations, and this is that section, Andrew's Rants and Observations.
I didn't know that. I was just like,
and
where
now
are we
it's time
going
for
with this?
Dick's Rants Observations. You had something you wanted to bring up to the onesie audience, an observation you had while watching the news earlier today.
No, it wasn't. Okay, I like conspiracy theories, and one of the things I was reading about, they have those currently there's riots or something. There's some problems going on in L.A. or a certain area of L.A. And one of them was they're talking about this company called Let me look at it again.
Waymo.
Waymo.
We've talked about them.
So they're a driverless taxi system for cars. When you're in the town, you can go, hey, weigh me or whatever.
Yeah, and I think our thing was,
come pick me up.
when we discussed them, it was you were really into this because you could do all kinds of things in there because you're unsupervised.
Oh yeah.
Continue.
So much room for activities.
Uh-huh. There's no steering wheel.
Someone pointed out that a lot of the cars that are being burnt, majority of the cars
During the peaceful protests.
during these protests are these taxis. And it got me thinking. It's like, all right, so you work for I'm gonna get this.
So, no, I'm just going to let you. Way more.
Waymo.
Just like Tesla.
Waymo.
Just like Tesla.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
Waymo. And I was like, so I was reading, the conspiracy theories. Someone said, oh, these protesters ordered these cars the night before and had them park because they're driverless. So there's parking in certain areas where they know they can burn it. And it's like, it's not anyone's actual car besides this company. But what I was thinking of, what made me laugh is, there's some guy working behind a desk that keeps track of all these Waymo cars. And all of a sudden you start getting these updates like it's on fire. And then there's cameras inside of the car. They're like, oh, what's going on with this car? Let me get in the camera too. And it's just these people beating it.
Yeah, it looks like GTA 3.
Yeah, it's like straight up just chaos. And then all of a sudden you get another update. Hey, car number 5522X2 is on fire. And you're like, what? What's going on with this one? Oh, no, that actually is on fire.
No, you have an interesting point. I suppose at a certain point after the second or third car is caught fire, at some point in their advanced algorithm, they would say, let's not send any more cars to that area.
Well, that's what got me thinking. I was like, I wonder.
I think you said there's up to 5 now.
Yeah.
Unless they scheduled them to arrive all at
that's
once.
what the conspiracy theory was these protesters knew where it was going to go, or maybe it was the counter protesters. Like, let's give them something to burn. And because someone pointed out, like, majority of the cars being caught on fire are these taxis. So maybe it's like to me, it's ingenious because it's like no one really going to care about some big corporation Waymo's on autonomous vehicles because it's not some unfortunate soul whose car broke down outside the courtroom.
Right.
But it's just, and then also the people who work there, they're like, hey, who ordered those? Like, how do you?
Yeah, and I suppose they have all your information too. So if
Yeah.
you're trying to burn this up and not be seen or known, your information's all there in your app. So probably not a bright idea.
Because these weren't like in a charge booth or something like that. They were ordered and they were delivered.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what got, I mean, I love that idea. And I love the idea of, the worker trying to look in the cameras and they got first person view of this chaos that's going on.
Well,
And-
I'm glad to know that you're really thinking about the inner workings of this riot. I'm glad. That's
well,
awesome.
I'm very
Taking some notes here, man.
I put my ear to the ground and I try to understand what's going on in this world. And when it involves an autonomous vehicle burning up, but there's more than one, I'm like, so there's got to be a good story to this. So I hope that something comes out. I wish I knew a guy that worked there. I'd be like, hey, man, tell me the real story behind these Waymo things.
Don't know that I would ever have described you as someone who puts his ear to the ground. I don't know, but I love the way you've self-described yourself. As
Oh, yeah.
I
You
just
gotta hear
really try to get into the details
You got to
of
hear the
everything.
buffalo coming, dog. So
I
but
really got my pulse on the beat of the city, man.
But
ear to the ground.
what I love, though, is if you watch the videos of the protesters or rioters or whoever, the people causing the problems, you see the cameras on top of the cars, and they're like trying to get it off, and it's just like a whole, like, it doesn't look like a normal car because it's an autonomous vehicle, so they have all these little things.
You say autonomous, very interesting.
What is it? Anonymous?
Not anonymous.
What am I supposed to say? Like
I don't know. You just say it interesting.
autonomous.
That was good. I swear you were saying it different there for a
Oh,
second. I don't know.
My pronunciation.
The first time I heard it, I went, that was just me. But then the second and third time, I thought,
well, good thing the
there's
show's
something there.
recorded. You can subscribe to it on podcast and rewind it every single time. Be like, this guy's an idiot.
I never said that. I just said interesting.
But yeah.
Well, speaking
I think
of...
I'm gonna do this one day.
Yeah?
I think what I want to try to do is like say like you hate your neighbor or somebody, and you're like, hey, I'm gonna order this autonomous vehicle
There it was again.
and park it right behind their driveway.
Oh, yeah. Although I bet they have if they get another call, the car's got to just take off.
Well,
right?
I know, but to me, it's kind of funny.
Yeah.
It's still funny.
If you can sit there and somehow have it sit for, wait for me for 30 minutes, then yeah, I suppose you're right.
Well, I mean, they'll probably call the company like, hey, your car's parked here, but it's still an
Set it on
inconvenient.
fire.
It's still pretty good though, right?
It is. It's a good one. It's a good one.
Or you have them parking in a parking spot that's like your boss's.
It's
So
reserved.
It's reserved parking only, and you're like, I'm gonna get them. I'm gonna get them.
Well, staying on
Or I could have them
activists
just following you around.
and rioting.
What do you think about that?
I mean, that would be creepy.
Would
Just have this weird driverless car just come
Following
following
you
all
all
the
right.
time. That'd be weird.
That'd be great.
Greenpeace activists were photographed stealing a wax statue of French President Emmanuel Macron in Paris in an act of protest against the country's business ties with Russia. Now, here's the thing that stood out to me. It's not so much that there were some protesting going on. They have wax statues of President Macron.
Probably.
So I thought, okay, so like I've been to a wax museum. You've been to a wax museum? Yeah, Madame Tussauds or whatever. To me, this is like a relic from the 1980s and 90s. I can't imagine if they're still around, if I were to walk into one of these and see anybody that's relevant today. I just figure I'd see like Michael Jackson, Madonna, and like Webster. They're not going to have somebody who's in pop culture now. Like, I don't think they have a wax Olivia Rodrigo is what I'm getting at. This seems like it just screams 80s and 90s. So when I saw this picture, and yes, there's a video and pictures of these people carrying out a wax figurine of the president, my first thought was, what are we doing? We still got wax museums are still a thing. They claim they're just borrowing, though.
Well, yeah, whatever.
Borrowing.
I think it's kind of interesting. Do you
And it
think? Do you
looks
think
just
he
like it.
knows he has a wax statue of himself?
I bet he does. I bet he does. You know the thing with him, right?
There's a thing with him.
Oh, you're not aware?
Oh, my ear wasn't that close.
Your ear was not on the ground in Paris.
Is it anything to do with his wife being like very older and like his teacher or something
so
like
you
that?
do know your ear is firmly on the ground on this
Yeah.
one. Yeah, man. The rumor is he's 49, she's like 71, which, hey, man,
Yeah.
hey, if it were the other way around, male, female, we would find that probably just fine. So I don't know that I have a problem with that per se, except for the fact that she was his 8th grade teacher, English teacher or something. I don't know. Teacher. And there is some rumor that they may have been involved at that point. I don't know. I don't know this for a fact, but yeah, there's some.
Well, if they've been together that long, that's true love.
True love. There. That's what I'm saying. True love, dog. So, anyways, now he has a wax statue. She knew all those years ago. Hey, this guy's going to be president and have his own wax statue. Are they still around? Look up Madame Tussauds. Are they?
Well, I mean, they're always. I mean, they have that Ripley's Believe It Not museum. Where's
that?
Ripley's, Dallas? Where is that?
There was one in San Antonio that I knew of down by the Riverwalk.
Random wax
there was
stuff.
One, yeah, no, you're right. There was a Ripley's in like Arlington, I think.
It's just random. I mean,
but that was again in the 80s and 90s. I can't imagine this still being a thing. We have the internet now, man. No kid's gonna be like, wow, let's go look at a wax statue of President Macron, Mom. It's just not gonna happen. They're busy looking for Pokemons. Bring up a nice 2015 reference.
That Greenpeace is like, oh, if we steal this,
they're borrowing,
or borrowing, huh?
Later in the day, they went to the Russian embassy in Paris in front of the statue of Emmanuel Macron to unfurl a banner denouncing current dealings with, like I said, Russia. But in this picture, you can see the people carrying him, and I don't know what he's making. He's making some sort of gesture with his hands. I think he had something in his hands, and they've removed it. So now he's just in a very awkward position there. I don't know.
And it's very publicly borrowed, too. A little.
What is?
The way they did it. They literally.
Oh, yeah. They made a spectacle of it.
Yeah. I would have just stolen it at night and then put it up with making it like, put him in a dress or something, like a hula girl.
Oh, so he could get in the HOV lane.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I would do that. That's what I would have done.
Right.
And it says, like, I'm an idiot. On a sign.
Whoa, what do you got against Macron, dude?
Well, if you're trying to make a point that they're against...
Oh, gotcha.
Like,
you couldn't set him on fire like you could the Waymo cars, though. I mean, I guess you could.
Yeah, put a little...
Would he just burn real slowly like a candle?
That'd be really sad. Stream it on Twitch.
Oh, yeah, you have to stream it.
Yeah.
If you don't stream it these days, it doesn't count.
That's funny.
Medical misadventure is a vague term, Dick, referring to an unexpected patient injury outside of the control of the physician. An act of God, as some might call it. Misadventure can represent a countless number of nonspecific scenarios. Errors in prescribed medicine can be considered a misadventure, for example. A related phrasing may be more commonly used, and this is the reason why I'm bringing it up, because it sounds really interesting. Death by misadventure.
Yeah, I know exactly what this is.
This is a coroner's term that originated in the UK to describe a death due to the risk willingly incurred, i.e., a preventable death. So I guess this is what they call somebody who's like a thrill seeker, maybe someone who, I don't know, jumps out of an airplane and the chute doesn't open. That would be death by misadventure. But to me, that's death by adventure, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But you say you've heard of this before.
Yeah.
I have not. Misadventure. Well, apparently research done at Johns Hopkins. Always sounds like there's one too many S in there. Johns Hopkins.
Well, it happens. It's interesting because it's like, it's not just the example you gave. It's also the other examples where, like, they gave him a prescription and they accidentally wrote 1,000 milligrams instead of 100 milligrams.
Right.
And then, like,
that doesn't sound like misadventure. That sounds like a regular old screw up.
Well, I think that's where they're trying to soften the blow, where you don't blame
Sorry,
the nurse.
man. It was just a misadventure. My bad. I forgot to carry the commas.
Well, I mean, it happens all the time.
Well, that's where I'm getting at. Apparently, claims that on average, this is the Johns Hopkins study that I was talking about, claims that on average, the U.S. sees more than 250,000 deaths per year due to medical error.
Mm-hmm.
Bro, I guess that's why physicians and doctors have to have such crazy insurance, because things can happen. Your dog goes in for a tooth cleaning and dead. I guess that would have been
a misadventure.
A misadventure for that old pup there, huh? You don't know what we're talking about last week's show.
Yeah, it's sad.
Yeah, man. This estimation ranks medical error as the third highest cause of death in the United States, despite the respiratory disease having been given originally reported as the third highest, blah, blah, blah. My point is, doctors be killing a lot of people through misadventure, which I think, again, you're right. I think you're onto something. Your ear is so on the ground on this. They're renaming this to get them out of some sort of liability.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's just to soften the blow.
Yeah.
Because if you say error, that means you're taking responsibility. And then when you argue responsibility, that also means there could be intent.
This is true.
So it's like...
But misadventure...
Misadventure is just kind of like, oh, it happened along the journey. You know?
We tried.
Yeah.
We're just practicing medicine, after all.
Yeah.
Just a lot of practice. We're talking about practice. Not a game.
But no,
Not a game.
I get it.
We're talking about practice.
I mean, you're talking about giving people a service that only a few people on this earth know how to provide.
This is true.
And expecting it to be 100% infallible, I guess it's just infallible. That's stupid. Like, you have to accept there are some risks.
And along the way, we're going to call it something really interesting like misadventure.
Yeah.
Dick, if I were to ask you how patriotic you are, on a scale of 1 to 10, we're coming up on 4th of July here, what do you think your response would be? How patriotic are you?
I don't know.
I look at you and I think you're probably about a 6.5.
I mean, I really like American history.
Mm-hmm. That's good for at least 3 or 4 points right there.
I really like that.
You're all into do whatever you want, which is kind
that's
of
more of a Texas thing.
Yeah, I mean freedom, right?
Like
Freedom.
I like Texas more than I like the United States.
Oh, are you a Texit guy?
Well, no, I think that the idea of 50 states is a wonderful thing because everyone can do their own thing and we can learn from each other.
This is so different than your quest for communism a few weeks ago. But continue.
But no, I would say I really like I like the country. We got some cool stuff. I got some interesting places, and it's like I like it.
Okay. I like to hear this, man. I like this patriotic Dick.
Well, because I think it's kind of hard to say is there's so many different ways people show their patriotism. Because you could say, oh, I volunteered for armed services.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big way of saying you're a patriot, right?
And then yes, I would agree with that generally.
And then you have like the folks who say they have a draft, and you just go into the draft and you're fighting for this country. That's somewhat
still patriotic.
Still kind of I mean, you didn't sign up,
no,
but you're still doing it.
You know what? As you talk to me, I'm now going from 6.5 to 7.5.
Yeah,
you're moving me.
I pay my taxes on time.
Sometimes quarterly.
Yeah, I don't cheat against the government. I try to be as honest as possible.
Mm-hmm.
So I respect
the government doesn't own a Waymo.
I respect what the government does, and they have their own ways of doing things.
Man, you're up to an 8 now.
I might not agree with a lot of the silly stuff going on, but
wow. Well, I'm going to say this. You might be the second most patriotic person I know because nothing says more patriotic than this. Doug Hay was inside his Florida home when a commotion outside caught his attention. After checking out the lake near his house, he saw a group of bald eagles circling the water. Dick, do you know what a bald eagle is?
Mm-hmm. There's a bunch out here.
You know, that's interesting that we have bald eagles in this area. Whereas I grew up as a kid, most people do grow up as a kid, I suppose. Bald eagles were this magical thing. It might as well have been a condor. I don't know. Yeah. I never saw one unless it was one injured in the zoo or something. Well, it says one of them, the one that hit the lake water, quote, wasn't doing too good. I should probably put on an American accent. Hay told the Brandon Herald, I figured they'd had a fight or something. That's my patriotic.
I like it.
Over territory or whatever. She got the worst of it. Hay sprang into action after noticing the eagle dipping below the water's surface a few times. Uh-oh, looks like the bird is struggling. Perhaps was going to drown. I started swimming out there because I knew it was going to drown. Either that or the gator was going to eat it. This dude risked his life in alligator-infested water to save an American bald eagle. Right there, America, baby. Now, I ask you how patriotic you were. You said you kind of like Texas and stuff and freedom. You swimming out in alligator-infested water to save a bald eagle. Now that
That's pretty cool.
is Patriot right there. He deserves to drive in the HOV lane all the time. No speed limits for that guy.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Free feminine products for life.
Right. Just in case.
I
That's
don't-
pretty dope, man. This
It is
guy,
pretty cool.
Yeah,
I'm trying to find the video because it says
well,
there's a video.
there says there was a video, right? And I don't know if it's a video inside of a news story because I looked in the same place and couldn't really find it either. I wanted to see this guy because I'm picturing. Look, I don't know. I'm just picturing a MAGA hat. I don't know. Maybe not. Out there, maybe slightly overweight. Maybe not. I'm gonna say 6 foot tall though. Pretty good stature of a guy. Short beard, not a long beard. Short beard, bald head. I'm projecting here.
Here, I got it.
Yes. Am I right on any accounts?
Well, now I'm getting commercials for
But it would-
Earth shoes now.
Yes. Does he have an FU I'm from Florida t-shirt? That'd
No.
be great.
Oh, here, I got it. Here.
All right, onesies. We are now watching the video of said man. What did I say his name? Hayes?
Dave Hayes. or
Dave
something like
Hayes.
that?
He is out there dragging this, and they're huge. I don't know if you've seen one up close and personal, but those birds
Oh,
are
yeah.
nasty, and they're mean as all get out. I'm surprised. Okay, no, he appears to be a man
I'm
who's
looking for the gator.
looks like he's 70 in his 70s. Yeah, exactly. I don't think they'd be showing the video.
There you go.
Yeah, got a mustache, solid
Oh,
mustache.
is that a wolf tattoo?
I give the mustache a solid 10.
He got a snake tattoo for sure.
Oh yeah, he does.
I think that's a wolf. Or a
Don't
dog.
tread on me, bruh.
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy. Yeah, I don't know that there's actually a gator that got him, but the gator was. There's gators in the water. It is Florida after all. I don't know, man. I'm not jumping.
That's pretty cool.
I love America. Happy
pretty cool.
birthday, 4th of July coming up. I'm not getting in
That
that.
is not where he was swimming.
Yeah, they're
Please tell me that is not where he
they're showing now a lake just
infested.
infested. Yeah, would you jump in that water? It looks like it was the same lake. I don't know. Speaking of cities and how they manage things, I don't know. It's a terrible transition. The city of Dallas, our neighbors to the north, are using around 280 goats to remove invasive privet plants from the Bachman Greenbelt. I don't know what a privet plant is, but apparently there's some sort of invasive species. I did look it up. They have it later on in this story. It does appear to be just a plant. It looks like a something I would put on the hedges in front of my house, or maybe outside of a dentist office or something. The goats will graze over 16 acres, or across 16 acres over 11 days, guided by an electric fence and a shepherd. Okay, that's why I'm doing this. You mean to tell me in the year 2025, you can still be a goat shepherd?
Yeah.
Love it.
You didn't know that?
Now, what kind of woman you think you're going to get if you put that on your Tinder profile?
Farmersonly.com, dog.
I'm a goat shepherd. You will get some varying responses, I imagine.
Yeah.
May not get the ones you're intending, though. It says this method is eco-friendly, helping reduce erosion, wildlife risk, and carbon emissions. Well, I tell you what, them goats are going to have plenty of carbon emissions after eating 11 or 16 acres over 11 days worth of invasive species. Just saying.
I like it.
I don't know. I want to be a goat herder.
Okay.
I'm sorry, shepherd. Just didn't know that was something you could be in the
Yeah.
year 2025.
This is a commonly used method of
Yeah.
clearing out a large plot of land. 16 acres, I think it said. And
Yeah, and in 11 days, you don't have to have any machinery. I imagine, though, it does cost. I don't know if it said what the city of Dallas is paying. I imagine it ain't cheap. You just kind of have to. That's a side biz right there. You can just get some T-shirts for them, some AOO T-shirts.
why do you own thousands of goats? Trust me, the world needs them.
The damn privet plants, man. We got to rid
the
of privet
world
plants.
needs them. I love it.
How much time we got, buddy? I neglected to write down the
We're
time.
at the very end right now.
Oh,
So quick hit.
No. Okay, I will do the story I was going to do next week. Quick hit here at the end of the show. Dick, do you know who Shizo Kankuri is?
No.
I think his name is Kanekuri. Shizo Kanekuri was a Japanese marathon runner celebrated as the, quote, father of marathon in Japan. That's quite a title. Oh, father of marathon. He holds the Guinness World Record for the longest time to complete a marathon. Dick, would you like to know how long it took him to complete said marathon?
Okay, how long?
54 years, 8 months, 6 days, 5 hours, 32 minutes, and 20.3 seconds. That's right. 54 years. All right, what are we doing here? I was expecting this to say something like 2 or 3 days, and the guy had some sort of injury that he crawled over the line. And no, 54 years. Kanakuri retired from the men's marathon event in the 1912 Stockholm Olympics without informing the authorities. But it gives a name here. I don't know. Some television group gave him the opportunity to go back and complete the marathon in 1967, thereby giving him the longest time to complete a marathon.
That's really funny.
Kind of sounds a little fishy to me. I mean, that's like saying we have some technical difficulties on this show. And 6 months from now, we decide to finish this show. We'd be like, 6 month long a show, guys. Come on. This is a bunch of crap. Shinzo Kanakuri, you are not our audience onesie of the week. Sorry. Just can't do it. Not if you're going to take some kind of record like that. We don't like quitters. No, actually, he was a very good marathon runner. He reportedly set a marathon record at 2 hours, 30 minutes, and 33 seconds. Blah, blah, blah. He was selected as one of 2 Japanese athletes to attend some of these early on events.
So this
Pretty
was
amazing,
This was
man.
kind of a PR stunt, not on his point.
Was it? Did I not read enough? He was only 5'7". Got to hand him that.
Yeah. So what it sounded like is that during this Stockholm Olympics in 1912, it was really bad for everybody. They had people die.
Tuberculosis.
And
TB, as it's called.
his coach had TB. And so him getting there and prepping, and he just never finished through. I'm trying to figure out why he didn't finish the race. Did he just like get in a car and said, "See you later"?
I think maybe he was fearing for his safety.
Okay, yeah, he said
Perhaps.
embarrassed by his failure. Because he didn't finish the race, he stumbled into a garden party where he drank orange juice for an hour, and then embarrassed by his failure, he silently returned to Japan without notifying anybody.
There you go. So something happened to him along the way. He fell ill.
And he wasn't the only one,
What?
too.
Yeah, couldn't finish the race. Was so embarrassed that he had to drink orange juice for an hour.
And then a Swedish reporter found him
All right, you know what? I'm changing my mind. He is.
in 1967 and
He's-
was like, "Hey, you can come back and complete the marathon."
He's our onesie of the week, bruh. He's our onesie of the week. I'm sorry. I'm sorry I ever doubted you, Shinzo or Shizo. I've been throwing an N in there. It's just Shizo.
He even returned where the garden villa he drank all the orange juice.
Did he have a little topper there?
Yeah.
Another couple quick ounces? Some Sunny D, maybe?
Look at this.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting.
There's actually a really interesting story. There's more fun stuff.
This should be a movie.
Yeah. No, I'd be so stupid.
Yeah, what am I saying? All right, guys, that's all we had time for this week. Thank you for joining. I'm glad we got the show in. Last week we said we may not have a show this week, but bringing it to you, onesies. Bringing it to you. Our low prep episode. We'll see you next week, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.